Head to Subway for the tangy new Tuscan Chicken Melt, seasoned chicken, melted cheese, and olive vinaigrette. With 9 grams of fat, it's part of a Subway Fresh Fit meal. A simpler way to enjoy eating better. Hurry in today. Subway. Eat fresh. The B.S. Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The B.S. Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the B.S. Report and happy 4th of July weekend. We taped this on a Thursday, but I called my buddy JackO at work to talk about baseball and a whole bunch of other stuff. He's on the Subway Fresh Take hotline. Here we go. Johnny.
Hey,
Happy birthday.
thanks, buddy.
What's it like to celebrate a birthday when your team really has no chance at making the playoffs?
Well, you mean the team that's won 7 in a row, hotter than a pistol? That team?
What team? The Devil Rays?
I'm talking about the Mighty Yanks, baby.
Who you been playing over that time?
Well, a couple of, their arch rival, the New York Mets.
Okay.
Scrappy bunch of guys trying to make a name for themselves in this league.
The Mets certainly did their best to be the Clippers to the Yankees-Lakers
That's
in
for
those
sure.
games.
Yeah, that's an excellent analogy, yes.
What was it like to watch Mariano Rivera get walked with the bases loaded?
It was exciting. It was good times. I mean, he got his 500th save and his first RBI on the same night. It's history in the making.
Unbelievable.
Great job. Great times. One of the great hitters. The odd thing is the second time he's come up with the bases loaded in a week.
Do you care about the Mets? I mean, do you feel like that's like a real rivalry?
No, not at all. I think that's a uniquely New York. I am getting old. I can't even speak anymore. New York thing. That if you're in New York, it was always odd to me because I always figured if you lived in New York and you were either a Yankees fan or a Mets fan, that you kind of, if you had to have a team in the other league, you kind of rooted for them. I never had any real feelings about the Mets one way or another. I kind of liked the '86 Mets because they broke the Red Sox hearts and they were a good soap opera story with all the characters they had. But then in listening to New York sports radio, it's like it's vehement. The more so the Mets fans directed at Yankee fans, but vice versa to a degree too. Like it was amazing to me that if you live in New York, you like root for one team, you hate the other.
Yeah.
Like really, well, and I can understand Mets fans that are kind of the JVs of the varsity, and you feel a lot of bitterness about that for 45, 46 years of ineptitude, and the Yankees are the preeminent sports franchise in the history of the world. So I can understand how you'd be a little bitter about that, kind of a younger brother, older brother thing. But it's pretty vehement from the other side, too, like Yankees fans making fun of the Mets. I was surprised by that. I personally, living in Connecticut, don't have any of that animosity.
I always thought there was a very interesting process to how somebody becomes either a Mets fan or a Yankee fan. Because the people that usually like the Yankees also like the Knicks, the Rangers, and the Giants.
That's right.
Like that's your typical New York fan.
Right.
But then you have the Mets, Jets, Nets type of Yankee, type of New York fan. It's almost like either they were raised that way or they just kind of wanted to go against the grain. Those were always more interesting people, in my opinion. The Mets, Jets, Nets guys.
It's a little bit of where you live, too, because if you're like a Long Islander, you're Jets, Mets, and certainly the Islanders then. Whereas other parts of New York, you're more Yankees, Giants. And it always seems to be Yankees, Giants, Mets, Jets. Because the Jets played at Shea, so there was sort of a natural symmetry there. And the Yankees and the Giants are sort of more old school and traditional, so that makes more sense too.
Yeah, what's weird is sometimes you'll meet somebody who will be Yankees, Islanders, Nets.
All over the map.
How did you come up with those four?
Yeah, Devils or something. Yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah, I do for some reason have always gotten along better with the guys who like the Mets and the Jets.
Really?
If it's a combo, I always like those guys. I don't know why. They're more torture. They have a better sense of humor.
Yeah. I like
I'm
the
saying
exception that proves the rule there.
Well, you're not from New York, though.
That's true. Right. But none of the guys that I'm thinking of that that are friends of yours from home or from Connecticut they didn't grow up really in New York either.
No.
But they root for the Jets and the Mets.
The classic example is my friend Paul Raff from Jimmy's show, who is like a classic Mets-Jets tortured, just, to him, just waiting for something like that K-Rod walk to Rivera happen. Right. I really think the Mets might be coming. I have this theory that Mets might be becoming the new Red Sox fans.
Well, I mean, they're just...
They're assuming the mantle.
Well, you can make it. It's a good point. I never thought of it really, but it's true because the historic collapses that's Red Sox-ian in the past 2 years. The September collapses. I mean, that's got a history with the Sox there.
Here's what reminds me of the old Red Sox pre Dave Roberts. Just the expectation of a painful loss.
Yeah.
No belief whatsoever that it's going to work out. Just waiting to get kicked in the groin. I mean, nobody was like, wow, I can't believe Luis Castillo dropped the pop-up. They were more like, they did it again, and they flip out for 15 minutes.
I mean, the Mets always were, they're lovable losers. The Casey Stengel, 62, losing 120 games and all that. And it was, just classic kind of Three Stooges baseball. Somewhere along the line, I guess, because they have a big payroll and they spend money and they're in New York City, expectations kind of changed, and it's not like they're the lovable losers anymore. Like, people really expect them to win and do well, so it's got to be disappointing.
Well, now you have, so it was 1986, 2009, so it's been 23 years. Now you're talking nobody under the age of 28 remembers the Mets World Series win.
That's a good point.
Now you're talking people 5 years out of college.
Getting a little lengthy there.
Yeah. I think of all the baseball teams, I think they are obviously people would say the Indians, but
nobody remembers 1954 though. So.
Yeah, the Indians have just been bad. It hasn't been like painfully, memorably bad, except for the 97 World Series.
I was going to say 97, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you really have to have a consistent pattern of stomach punch losses.
Right, yeah.
To go to that level. And the Mets, starting with the Socha homer in 1988, it kind of fit the bill a little bit.
Good point.
Bad free agent signings.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another team that's starting to broach in the territory, Johnny. Your own New York Yankees.
Come on. Please. They have the third best record in baseball. They're only 2.5 and 2 in the loss column behind the Red Sox. They've taken 3 games off the lead already in like the past week.
Have you won in the new millennium?
Well, World Series, no, but
that's a problem.
Well, it's not.
We're about almost a decade in, Johnny.
It's not good. I know that the first decade of 2000s is almost over. I know it's troubling.
Been a couple Red Sox World Series titles. There's been a Phillies title.
I'm well,
the White Sox.
Well aware. Far too aware. Cardinals. You gonna name all the teams? Sure.
The Angels of Los Angeles of Anaheim, whatever they're called.
They had one too. That's right.
The Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
They won one?
They did. The Marlins.
The St. Louis Cardinals?
The St. Louis Cardinals, yep.
It's a long list, and I don't see the Yankees on it, unfortunately.
No. Hey, from 1978 until 1996 was a lot longer period of time that I lived through, so I can take the 9 years. They've been competitive at least now. You can't always say that for the 1978 to 1996 stretch.
Well, congrats on your success a long time ago. I'm sure Bernie Madoff is consoling himself right now, saying that he was really rich from 1978 to 2007.
I'm just saying from 1978 to 96, they didn't win a World Series either, and I lasted through that. So 2000 to 2009 is much shorter a period of time than 78 to 96. So if I made it through that, I can make it through this. That's what I'm saying. So this is small potatoes compared to that. Plus, they've been successful now, unlike the 1980s where they never even really sniffed the playoffs. So yeah, it's all right. They're right there. A lot of baseball to be played, my friend.
You mean until 1996 when they won 4 World Series during the most tainted era in baseball history?
Right. Yes, that's right. Because they were the only ones that were on the juice, as we know from George Mitchell, co-owner of the Red Sox. There was not a single Red Sox that ever came anywhere near a steroid needle ever.
Johnny, the facts don't lie.
Right.
I can't help but the report dragged up, Johnny. You had some cheaters, we didn't.
Yeah, that's right. Unbelievable, yeah. Boy, it's just shocking. Well,
we were touched by the hand of God.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing how that happened. Just clean as a whistle. I guess that's just the type of player they went for.
Hey, look at Ortiz. Now it looks like he was clean. He's hitting homers.
Yeah, boy, really.
In the post-drug testing area, he's banging them out.
Yeah, at the same clip he always was, right? His numbers are eerily similar. Yeah,
shocking. Seven homers this month.
Right, how many on the year?
8.
Hey, there you go. And what does he normally have at the All-Star break? I seem to remember him being in some home run derbies because he was leading among the league leaders.
You know how I'm in that home run league with Gus and his dad and his brother?
Yeah.
I picked up Ortiz on Monday.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
confidence. Indeed.
I threw the gauntlet down. In the span of 4 weeks, I went from writing a column, writing an obituary to his career for the ESPN magazine to
picking him up in a Homer League.
To picking him up in a Homer League. That's professional baseball in 2009.
There you go. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Got to jump, Johnny. They catch fire, you got to jump on it.
That's right. Ride the hot hand or the hot bat. Absolutely.
You know,
how did you feel about your beloved closer, Jonathan Papelbon, there, expressing an interest in someday being the closer for my own New York Yankees?
Good riddance.
Yeah, I know the propaganda arm of the Red Sox, the Boston Globe, always has veiled comments about him breaking down because of his motion or not having a lot of belief in him. So I know that's coming right from since they're Pravda to the Red Sox Kremlin. I know that's coming right from the front offices. So.
Had a good run, ready to possibly see him go make some money somewhere else.
So classic for the Yankees to sign him when he's just about shot over the hill. Cashman will probably sign him to like a 5-year, $40 million contract. Actually, $40 million is low. What am I saying?
Yeah,
5-year, like $80 million contract.
Well, he's been my favorite team's closer, and he's been my AL keeper closer for the last 4 years.
You're really attached to him.
I've seen an inordinate amount of his pitching appearances, and I can tell you that he is not as good as he used to be.
No, clearly.
And I don't know if the stats, whatever. The stats might back that, might not, but it's harder for him to get outs now.
Let's hope he blows up in the second half. Let's hope that happens.
Doesn't really matter for us, Johnny, because we got a little flame-throwing kid by the name of Daniel Bard.
Yeah, that's right.
Waiting to come up.
Young Danny, that's right. Throwing a $1-2 or whatever, yeah.
Every time he comes in, it's like the kid in The Natural comes in to pitch against Roy Hobbs. Just a strapping fireballer.
Big Nebraska farm kid.
Yeah, you don't even know. He shouldn't even have a name. They should just call him the kid, the farm kid. But I think we'll be in good hands with the closer spot, Johnny.
Well,
no need to worry about us. I'd worry about your own closer. It's about 100.
He's doing fine. Setting records every day he goes out there.
Yeah, let's have him pee in a cup.
Come on.
Does he get to pee in a cup, Rivera?
I'm sure he has. I'm sure he's clean as a whistle. He's a man of the Lord, Phil.
Yeah, he wouldn't do that.
He's a man of God. He's not going to defile the temple that is our body with any kind of performance-enhancing drugs. Are
you getting a little verklempt that 3 months to go in the Johnny Damon era for you?
No, not really. I've enjoyed Johnny's time, but I can't really say I'm going to be overly emotional about his leaving now.
Will you miss his wife?
A little bit. I haven't had enough of her in my life, but I'll miss her a little bit, sure.
She's been kind of quiet. I think the Yankees give her a lot of medication.
Amazingly quiet because there was a lot of Red Sox bitterness when he signed that she was going to have a show on Yes or something, and she wanted to be the star, and that's why he was going to New York, but it never really materialized. I
saw ESPN Classic showed Game 6 of the 04 ALCS. I think you might have watched it, the Kurt Schilling Bloody Sock game.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it, yeah.
Watched the 9th inning. My buddy Hench emailed and said, turn on ESPN Classic. And it was one of those rare moments that I was actually happy to see what was on ESPN Classic. But so went through the 9th inning. Keith Folk probably threw 50 pitches in the 9th inning. He might have thrown 90. And
Tony Clark was the last out, right?
Yeah, well, he has Sierra. And it's funny because I haven't watched that game in a while, but Sierra comes up. And I remember at the time just thinking, he's definitely hitting a home run here. I don't know why I was afraid of Ruben Sierra, but somehow I guess he walked him. I can't remember, but ends up getting Tony Clark for the final out. And then they show, everyone celebrated, and they show Johnny with the long Jesus Christ hair.
Yeah.
And he's high-fiving. And I was just thinking, like, it's so weird that he ended up on the Yankees.
Yes, it is.
It really is. Like, I can't ever really totally come to grips with it.
I mean, he was really, super identified as one of the idiots, if not the leader of the idiot crew there in 2004. So
yeah. To
go over to the Yanks was, but money talks, that's what happens. And he's been solid as a Yankee. He's been all right. I know he can't throw, and he's a terrible outfielder, but he's all right offensively.
He's really good offensively.
He hit a home run again last night, as a matter of fact.
He's been, and on the base pass, he's been good.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good leadoff guy. He's a good cog in their offense. He carried them for a while in May.
I got to say, I just love that 04 team. And I'm not for even what happened, but just like, I'm sorry, is this bugging you?
It's my birthday.
I just want to say one thing.
Relive this?
No, you'll like where this is going. I really like the personalities of the team, and I miss that team, and I watched the team we have now, and it's a very good team, but it's just businesslike.
Workmanlike, yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Robotic.
And I like Euclid. I like Pedroia. The other guys are okay, but that team was really it was like Major League 3.
There's nobody on this year's team that's doing shots of JD before they go out on the field.
No, that team was like a rock band. It just was different, and I miss it.
Certainly with the amount of syringes in the locker room is very similar to a rock band.
Johnny,
absolutely.
Johnny, how dare you? Did you watch NYC prep as I requested.
You did. I did. When you called me the other night and screamed at me, watch it, I figured that was a good thing to do. So
Any
I flipped
thoughts?
between that and the Yankees game. I wasn't really that into it. I'm going to tell you. I really wasn't that into it.
You didn't like the kid who is like Liberace Jr. but pretends he's actively dating?
Yeah, he was all right, but I don't know. I didn't like any of the females on there. I didn't understand why the guy that was, I guess, the hot commodity has Leif Garrett's hairdo. I didn't understand what was up with that.
Girls like his hair, Johnny.
They like Leif Garrett, like it's the 70s all over again. I didn't understand that, and I just didn't think there was anyone likable on there. Like I hated all of them.
You didn't like the fact that the Leif Garrett guy is like a Dangerous Liaisons character?
Well, and the other thing is, I mean, you can tell I'm getting old because I was like sitting there going, like, where are their parents? Like, what's going on here? Like, when I was in high school, we didn't just run amok through the city, you know, no matter what we did, and we lived it up. But I'm like, every so often, our parents would be like, no, you have to be in by midnight or 1 or whatever. But these kids are just like, I'm like, how old are they? They're 17 and they seem like they're about 30, you know?
That's one of the reasons I like it. You're right, though. There should be a counter show where it's like New Britain Prep. It's just kids like, what are we doing tonight? We're going to somebody's basement and we're gonna do whippets. Cool. I'll see you at 7:30.
Exactly. Or like, you know, we obviously would drink in high school, but we'd like go to the movies or go drive around or, you know.
There's a lot of driving around in high school.
Yeah, but it wasn't like we were going to some nightclub and you know, we're having a house party with a DJ. What?
Yeah.
I understand it's New York City prep and they have more money and what have you and live the jet set lifestyle, but still, I was like, really? You know? I was like, Mom and Dad, you have to leave the house tonight because I'm gonna have a house party with some like international DJ come over, and we're gonna have the place decorated to the tune of like $50K to like upgrade our apartment here, our loft.
Yeah, when we were in high school, maybe times have changed, but it was more of the vein of Jim Grady's parents are up for 4 hours. We're all going over there.
Yeah,
you got to be up at 11:30.
That's exactly right. That's and that never seemed to be an issue on NYC prep.
No, not an issue. The issue is more like, how can I get in 6 of my friends into this Red Rope event? And it's like a Tuesday night.
We're worried about flying DJ AM in to make this party or whatever. You know, I was like, this wasn't like my high school experience. So
I really like the idea of New Britain Prep.
It's pretty good. Good.
Or what would be better, Farmington Prep or?
Farmington's much better than New Britain, absolutely.
I'm trying to think of some random
Avon High School,
some random middle Connecticut school, and like this week the kids find an empty soccer field and decide to drink on it.
Cheshire.
Cheshire. This week on Cheshire Prep.
Yeah.
Somebody gets a fake ID. They park in a parking lot and drink.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's middle Connecticut Prep. See, that's more true to life. America could really. They could see themselves in that much more than NYC prep.
That's what I liked about Dazed and Confused, and that's why I continue to watch it every time it's on TV and I'm looking for something to watch, is that whole era of pre-cable, pre-internet, pre-everything, where on a Friday night you just got in a car and you drove around, and maybe you ended up at some convenience store in the parking lot for 2 hours, and all you really did was smoke pot. You just drove around.
That's right.
Drank, you went to abandoned fields, and maybe somebody put a keg there.
That's right. And if people's parents weren't away and you couldn't go to someone's house, that's what you did. You just like would go out and drive around. There might be like a nebulous movie involved, and you'd all meet up at the movie theater, and then you'd be like, oh, let's just hang out. Or you drive around and run into other people that were driving around from your high school, and then you congregate someplace. Yeah, that was high school.
Well, think about how crazy now the concept is of the drive-in theater.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
You explain that to somebody who's 16 now, and I don't think they'd believe you.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, so we go, and it's $5 for the car, and then you put this sound speaker in the driver's side window that you can barely hear.
Right.
And you park with 100 other cars, and that's what you do for 2 hours.
Absolutely, yeah. People couldn't wrap their heads around it, I don't think, anymore. No.
Yeah.
Good time.
I don't know, Johnny.
Getting old, man. Getting old.
We're getting old. I'm hitting the big 4-0 in a couple months.
I know. It's exciting. Any big plans, big party?
You know what my big plan is? To keep watching shows like Real World Cancun and NYC Prep. I'm not, I thought when I got a certain age I was going to stop it, but I'm not going to be ashamed of who I am.
I have not watched any of Real World Cancun. I have not watched any of it. I think I might be out. I think I had an epiphany while watching the reunion show of the Real World Duel thing, and they were talking about it, and that guy Mark, they're like, he had retired and he's 38.
Yeah.
And he's like, but of course he's still appearing on the show. But I'm like, I'm a year older than Mark. If I really want to be watching this? I was thinking about their ages. The kid's like 22, and I'm thinking like we were just about in college when that kid was born.
Yeah.
That kid was like a toddler, and we were in college. Do I really want to be watching his antics? Can I relate to this show in any way, shape, or form any longer?
Oh, the answer is yes.
Yeah, maybe I'll still get in Real World Cancun. I'm just like, I don't know. Makes me
You're
feel
thinking
older.
you're making fun of Mark about how old he is, but you're older than him.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
It's almost worse that you're watching a show where you're making fun of somebody who's younger than you. How old he is?
I'm like, boy, that guy's too old to be involved in this. And then the first second, a light bulb went off in my head, and a voice said to me, "So are you."
A reader pointed out that I say the phrase "here would be my counter" too much.
Yeah, oh, really?
But here would be my counter to that reader. And here's my counter to everything you're saying. There's no good TV on anymore.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I mean, it's not like we're passing up Seinfeld in the early 90s and the first season of ER to watch this dreck. How about this? Point me to a couple good shows.
Yeah, exactly, and I'll tune in.
I was getting, Burn Notice was getting buzz on USA. It's like, ooh, Burn Notice. And I watched it, and I was like, really? This is a buzz show, Burn Notice?
HBO killed me by getting rid of Deadwood, and so now until Mad Men comes back, what else am I going to be watching?
Oh, well, I tried to watch. Well, we did. We watched all of Hung.
You're right.
Did you see Hung?
No, I did not, no. I like your Twitter
much.
about it, though.
I said it left me limp.
Exactly.
I just, and then it's like the buzz out here is always, anytime an HBO show sucks, the buzz is, you got to stick with it for a few episodes. It really gets going around episode 5. It's like, you know what? If I watched any show after 4 episodes, I'd be into it. You know? You could say that about literally any show. Or you could have said that about, I'm trying to think of the worst possible sitcom, the Steve Harvey Show. Hey, Steve Harvey Show, man. Episode 5 really gets going. He starts to develop his relationship with his kids. If that's your selling point, that I have to stick through your 4 crappy episodes to get to episode 5, which is half decent,
right?
That's not a selling point.
The whole thing is to make a good first impression.
It wasn't funny. It was kind of depressing. It wasn't quirky enough. I don't know what. I just didn't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're typing. Do you want to finish whatever you're typing?
No, I'm good. I'm sorry. I just had to respond to something. I'm good. I'm listening. Hung. Left you limp. I'm all over it.
Well, it hurt to see Mickey Mantle from 61 in such a bad show.
I know. He's involved in that. That's Thomas Jane. That's unfortunate.
You're not watching Nurse Jackie, right?
No. I never even watched ER. I don't like hospitals or doctors. I don't like to go to them, and I don't want to watch shows about them.
We joined Netflix again.
Yeah.
Which I had been out on for a couple of years, but every time we took anything out from Blockbuster, we'd forget to return it for 4 weeks, and it was basically we were sustaining our local Blockbuster.
Yes.
So Netflix is like $35, 5 DVDs, 5 Blu-rays, whatever, forever. You can have them. You can get buried with them. They don't care. And so we got Friday the 13th, the remake.
Oh yeah.
This is a strong statement. I don't want to say it's the worst movie I've ever seen. I just want to say it's in the discussion. It's like how you can't say LeBron's the best basketball player ever, but he's in the mix.
Yeah, right. He's in the discussion. That's right.
It's in the mix. It's in the mix.
Wow.
It's in the short handful of worst movies I've ever seen.
That's a strong statement.
But you'll like it because there's a ton of nudity.
Well, that's right up my alley, right? In that case, it's all I need. I can just fast forward.
No, it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's really, really horrible. And I've now decided that this whole Saw epidemic, the success of the Saw movies, where now everybody has decided that all horror movies have to be grisly and just awful and like almost like snuff films.
Ugh.
One of the worst pop culture trends of the decade.
And obviously they sell. There's a market for it. But I don't want to get all high and mighty here. I'm already.
Hey, listen, you're already on Mount Pius. Just stay up there.
I'm already saying, like, where are the parents of these kids in NYC prep? I'm like to wrap my shawl and shake my cane at people now. But
yeah.
I mean, what does that say about us as a society, where people like get off and want to go see a movie where you're like forced to cut off your own leg, or like somebody is forced to cut off their own leg?
Yeah.
Or whatever. I wouldn't watch any of those Saw movies, but the premise, it's like torture porn. Like,
yeah.
I mean, what's next society? Now I'm like babbling like Andy Rooney. What's it say about people? Like, what is the next society of people going to be like when that's like your entertainment? You know?
I wish I knew, Johnny.
I mean, it can't be healthy for you, right? Oh,
I got it.
When he had to cut his own leg off and was screaming in pain. That was fantastic. Really? God.
I understood Saw 1 because it was new and it was different and you're blindsided by how over the top it was. But then to think that now it's been ritually ripped off we're going on 4 years. They've been 5 Saws.
I mean, I don't know. It's troublesome.
I like Drag Me to Hell. Like, I thought that was a nice direction for horror movies in general. But maybe we're just out of ways to kill people in a movie.
I get. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I guess people are so inured to violence that unless it's really grisly and like things are splattering on the screen and you see every tendon shred or something, it's not good enough for me. It's so fake. Oh, okay, whatever.
But you just made me think of an idea. Because we hate all these reality characters so much, maybe that should be part of these shows are all rigged anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe the NYC Preps, PC, the Liberace Jr. kid, could just get brutally murdered. They'd have to solve it.
Killer. Yeah, there you go.
Or he killed other people. Or, somebody murdered Heidi in the season finale of The Hills.
No, America wouldn't be into that, though. That wouldn't be disappointing for America. So.
She has to saw off Spencer's head to survive.
If that happened and it had to be solved, America would be like, "Who cares? Just happy it happened."
Let's call this a closed case.
Let's not find the guy. No, we don't want to get him in any trouble.
We've ended the investigation. We don't think there are any suspects.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great.
Oh man.
Well, Johnny, at the very least, we came up with the idea for Cheshire Prep. Cheshire Prep or Avon Prep?
Yeah, either one. We'll take any offers, sure.
This week, Billy steals a pack of Marlboro Lights from the convenience store and smokes them. Bobby gets a job at a gas station and decides to start stealing candy.
This week, the gang decides to go to a New Britain Rockcats game and then go out in the town afterwards. By out in the town, I mean driving around.
And then stay in the parking lot and drink warm beer.
They went to a 7-Eleven and got a big Slurpee, and they poured half of it out and filled it with vodka.
That'd be a great show. I would watch that show.
And the finale would be like they're driving someplace and they're drinking, and then there's you see police lights behind them.
That'd be excellent. I guess, you could argue that 16 and Unmarried or whatever that MTV show is basically the same premise.
Pretty much, I guess.
But it's just depressing. That's actually discouraging people from making teenage mistakes.
Because that one has a kid is going to be involved shortly in this nightmare.
Yeah. And NYC Prep goes the other way. It encourages aberrant behavior and rich people being rich and kind of knowing that. But there's not a show that just kind of shows what happens.
I liked when the kid on NYC Prep was meeting with his therapist.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't his therapist. Maybe it was his personal trainer. And he's like, all we ever do is go out and have all kinds of casual sex, but that's getting a little boring. Yeah. I just want to settle down now, because I know that's what I was thinking when I was 16 or 17, right? No, that was so like my high school. Boy, that really speaks to me.
Well, here's a rule of thumb. If you're trying to stay in the closet, don't say stuff like that when you're 18.
Right, exactly.
So when you're 18, casual sex is really the only goal.
Yes, absolutely.
That's all you're looking for. Nothing else.
Absolutely.
Casual sex, and that's about it. PC
should have thought about that one a little longer.
Yeah, PC, when he was doing his Kobe-like treatment on his heterosexuality. Oh, crap, I just forgot what I was going to say. With PC. So he got set up on a blind date. When you were 18, did anyone set you up on a blind date?
No.
I don't even think I knew what a blind date was until I was 25.
Well, that's not true. We went to Holy Cross and they had that blind date ball thing.
All right. Well, you could have helped me help me sell that one. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
The blind date ball. One of the ideas that as we're at school came and went.
Yes. Yeah.
It was funny. We were there as they systematically eliminated all the fun in our school. It was like a bridging of the eras.
You could watch it happen.
Blind date ball. They decided that was a bad idea. Being able to go into anybody's dorm at any time of night, that was out.
Right.
Being able to drink for while everybody looked the other way the first night before classes, that's gone.
We were kind of there during the steroid era of baseball, it turned out.
We were.
And then the next years after we left, production went way, way down. There was a lot less offense.
There really was. And I feel like I put up some Manny stats. I think my stats would not have looked that good in another era.
No.
Passing out, embarrassing hookups. Yeah, Triple crown.
I have a feeling that Holy Cross now is probably in the dead ball era.
Yeah, you have one guy right now listening to this podcast from Holy Cross who's. Oh wait, they're not in school right now. But if they were, maybe the lone guy who's listening to the podcast illegally in the library. You're not allowed to listen to audio in the library.
Sure.
You're gonna have to leave. It's a quiet place. Yeah, it's sad. All right, Johnny, how you feeling about the Yanks this week?
I feel good. I'm like a 3.
Oh, you mean a 3?
Yeah, 3.
With 10 being the highest. Yeah,
10
okay.
being like I'm really, they're awful, and 1 being like they're locked for the World Series.
Gotcha. Who do you like in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest?
Well, I gotta go with I'll go with what's his name, the Japanese guy. Kobayashi or whatever. I don't know what his name is.
I think they should have another contest where it's the most hot dogs you can eat over 12 hours, because I'd really like to see Joe House in that.
Yeah, I'd vote for Joe House, but I don't think he's in this year's competition.
It bothers me that there aren't more categories for competitive eating. Like, there should be the category for how many can you eat the fastest, but then also just endurance.
It's like a marathon versus a sprint.
It's the 100-yard dash, what they do every July 4th, but there's no marathon.
Speaking of House and food and this, a couple of weeks ago, I was flipping the channels, and I came across the Travel Channel, and I saw that Man versus Food show. Uh-oh. And he was in Minnesota, and he went to a German restaurant, and he ate something called the Meterwurst, which is a 3-foot bratwurst.
Oh my God!
It's a meter long, and he had to eat that, and he had to eat 2 sides. So he had that with cabbage and like potato croquettes with gravy, and the guy ate the whole freaking thing. And he was drinking these huge liters of beer beforehand. Like, I don't know if he drank a lot of beer or not, but eating 3 feet of sausage was something to see.
Instead of Long John Silver's, he was at Long Dong Silver's.
Exactly. It was some German restaurant, and I watched the guy do it. And there was a million of those jokes. Like, they were like, there was other people there, and they're like, you ever had 3 feet of meat in you before, or something like that.
So did he eat the whole thing?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Was he funny though?
Not especially. No.
See, ours would be funny.
But he wasn't like, my sides weren't splitting. He was visiting with people at the restaurant, and he's like, have any of you ever tried this? And one guy raised his hand, and he's like, yeah, I did it. And he's like, you did it? And he's like, how long did it take you? And the guy was like 17 minutes. And he goes, how did you feel? And he's like, it wasn't bad eating it, but he's like, I was in agony the next day. And he's like, really? And he's like, yeah. He's like, 3 feet of meat going in, 3 feet of meat coming out.
Oh, no.
So really, like, the guy in the restaurant was funnier. Like, the whole place broke up. I'm like, the host should have been all over that,
See, I hate when people do good ideas that other people could have thought of, but they aren't good, and they ruin the idea. Yeah. Nothing worse. You should just say, like, you know what, this is a good idea, and I'm not doing it well enough, and I'm going to give this to somebody. I'm going to put this in better hands.
Yeah, right.
And that would be house money.
That's right. Or beat the house. Or
beat the house.
Or the house always wins.
What do we... No, we didn't call it house money. What was my other... House record.
House record.
Yeah, I still like house record the more I think about it.
I kind of like the one that one of your readers or listeners suggested of the house always wins. I thought that one was good.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm still working on it.
Yeah, you're right.
Someday we'll have a show. You'll get to retire and we can just be old farts and be appalled by reality TV.
You got a lot of irons in the fire. You got Cheshire Prep and you got Roadhouse or Record House.
I do.
Record. So you got a lot of stuff going on.
I'm like a young Mike Fleiss, the guy who does The Bachelors.
Yeah, you got a lot. You need to start a production company.
You're not watching Bachelorette, right?
No, I've never watched The Bachelor or The Bachelorette.
It's on every Monday night in my house, and I answer emails while my wife watches it. But this particular season, there's a guy who's not in it for the right reasons, which frequently happens. But this guy's reasons are really not right. He's trying to advance his country western career.
Oh, well, that explains. There you go.
He's openly saying to the camera, I just want to last 6 episodes and make sure people knew about my album. And my wife's reactions to this guy, I just wish they were videotaped and shown.
Really?
Oh, just
priceless.
Honestly, yeah. It'd be like, you know how people react as, and not to make light of this, but as somebody is being sentenced who did something horrible to one of their kids. That is how my wife reacts to this guy when he's interviewed. He's not here for the right reasons. He's not. They're not the right reasons. Going bonkers. It's great, and somehow this guy's made the Final Four. And the stupid woman who's the Bachelorette has no idea that she's being played by this guy.
Oh, boy.
It's so good. And it's like, I just think it's important that these shows exist.
And she's probably like a runner-up from a previous one where some guy picked some other woman, right?
Oh, of course.
So she's already had some tragedy, and now she's being strung along by the next Garth Brooks.
You kind of like this girl, Johnny. She's Canadian. She's definitely up for anything, and she's got one of those faces where she'll smile sometimes and has that like Ellen Barkin face going, and you're like, wow, this girl's not cute. And then she looks great, and it's this constant battle of whether she's good looking or not.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give, I have to say, as I said, I half watch it and I'm always doing other stuff, but it has popped my head up more than the seasons usually do.
All right. Well, I'll keep that in mind.
You know what else it had was the airline pilot who got voted off decided that Jillian, the Bachelorette, had to know that Wes, the country singer, wasn't in for the right reasons and flew to Austin, Texas to tell her.
Really? That's
and then they both
stalking.
Confronted Wes. Yeah, and he's like, you told me you had a girlfriend. And Wes is like, I didn't. I don't have a girlfriend. And it just went back and forth, and she made the Ellen Barkin face. You would have loved it.
If he was a pilot, he should have just got in a plane and like dragged a sign behind the plane and flown over the house.
It's with the decorating the sky, whatever they call those.
Yeah, writing in the sky, Wes isn't in it for the right reasons.
I got to say, I feel bad for this girl, though.
Well, she'll be all right, I'm sure.
She just wants to find a husband, Johnny. She doesn't want guys who are in there for the wrong reasons.
Well, he gets to be a big country western singer, and she can have a big house in Nashville with him.
Well, I can tell you one thing. After watching this guy for 6 weeks...
He's not going to be?
Well, no, there's a 100% chance his album that will be released will be called The Wrong Reasons. I guarantee it. I wish there was a way to bet on this because that's what will happen. His album will be called The Wrong Reasons, and he's going to play this up to the hilt. And, oh, no, I had feelings for her, but he's almost evil.
Maybe he could be the bad boy of country. I think country needs that.
I think he's been studying the Spencer game tapes for how to turn people against him and eventually get more reality success about it. Our country's going to hell, Johnny.
Pretty much. If we're not already there.
Enjoy your birthday. Enjoy July 4th. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, buddy.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the B.S. Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
That concludes, ends, finishes, wraps up another B.S. Report. With all the talk about baseball, the upcoming football season, and hockey playoffs, Bill Simmons neglected to mention something which frankly cannot go unstated. Okay, here goes. For a limited time, hurry into Subway and enjoy the new Tuscan Chicken Melt. Lovely seasoned chicken, melted bubbly cheese with olive vinaigrette, piled so high with the crisp veggies you love on your choice of freshly baked bread. All that deliciousness with 9 grams of fat. It's part of a fresh fit meal.